welcome back to the channel. So I know it's been a little while since I posted a video, so I thought I'd make a video here for you guys. By the way, the lighting in here is terrible. There's only 2 bulbs here and there, so there's gonna be quite a bit of shadows in this video, which I'll try and avoid, but they're gonna happen. So this video is actually gonna be mostly about my new compressor that I got. So I've been wanting one of these for a while, so I thought I'd go out and buy a compressor. This is a 6-gallon compressor. It holds about 150 psi. I've never used one of these before, but I have always wanted one for quite a few reasons actually. The main reason is over here. I've always wanted an air nailer. This is a brad nailer, if you want to call it that. And I've always wanted one of these because I thought it would make things easier to build simpler things instead of using screws or pounding nails in. It'll just make things a lot faster. There's also this blower that I got an attachment for, and being down in this basement, it gets pretty dusty. So, for example, over here with this stuff, if someone bought one of these, it's pretty dusty right now, so I would blow it off with the hose and make it look a little bit better. There's also a tire inflator attachment that I got for this. So that will be nice for filling up tires instead of using the hand pump that we have, because hand pumps don't exactly work on cars. So those are the main reasons that I got a compressor. So I'm learning just along with you guys on how this thing works. Some of you guys may already know how it works, but I'm going to kind of show you guys what I've learned already from it. So the first thing I want to do in this video is just kind of show you guys around on the air compressor. So this air compressor is a Porter cable compressor. So you have your 2 gauges here. This gauge right here is your tank pressure. You can see right here is the 150 mark. So when it gets to 150 psi, it will automatically shut off. And then here's your regulator pressure, and you turn this knob to determine how much air is going to be coming out of the hose. So when I bought this compressor, it also came with 3 air nailers. There is a 23 gauge, 18 gauge, and a 16 gauge. Basically, you have your 2 hookups right here. Not sure exactly what they're called, but it's pretty simple. You have this end right here, and you pull this part back right here, if you can see that, and then you pull it back and push it in. It's kind of hard to do with one hand, but once it's pushed in, you can kind of wiggle it around, make sure it's tight, and it's the same thing for the other end. You see you have your end right there, so you just pull it out. So you just pull it back and it will shoot out. So you see the end right there. So it's pretty simple actually. This is an electric one, so you just have to plug it into an outlet. Since it's electric, it says it is maintenance free. So we'll see how that is in the future. But basically, you just turn this switch right here and it'll turn on. So pretty simple. When you are done using the compressor, from what I've heard, you always want to let out the air because not only is it compressing air, it's also compressing moisture in there. So you don't want to let it sit in there because it can rust the tank. So you have a little valve right here, and you just pull that out. You can see the air comes out. So that's basically it. And then when there's no more air coming out of here, there's a little valve right here too on the bottom side. You basically just loosen that and the rest of it will come out. There will be some moisture and stuff that comes out of there. I already tried filling it up completely once and there was quite a bit of moisture that came out. So that's why you want to empty it out, because you don't want this tank to rust. Otherwise it will be bad within probably a few years. So you always want to let the air out. So let's talk about the different air nailers that I got with it. So there's, again, the 23 gauge, the 18 gauge, and the 16 gauge. So the higher the gauge, the skinnier the nail's gonna be. So like if I over exaggerate, here's a 23 gauge, here would be like a 16 gauge. So you can kind of see how thick the nail would be. I did go to Farm Fleet and look for some nails, but they didn't have any for the 23 gauge. So we won't be testing that out today. I did get the 18 gauge working pretty good. I did a few tests already with it, but not a whole lot. I basically just put a few nails in right there. So yeah, it's pretty easy to put the nails in. All you need is just the line like this. You can see the thickness right there. They're pretty skinny. And you just put the head towards the back. It'll have a groove already set for the different sizes. Just push it up. Close that. And it's pretty much ready. So this video is actually going to be 2 parts. And the first part is pretty much just going to be testing out the whole thing and showing you guys a little bit of how this works. And part 2 of the video, or the second video, will be building another one of those stand things over there and really using the nailers to see how good they work. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is show you guys this air pump thing. Pretty much you just push this button right here and it will shoot out air. So the first thing that I need to do is hook up this part to either one of these adapters right here. Okay, and then you can kind of wiggle it around, make sure it's tight. Then you'll put this part on, so you pull back here and slide it on. You can see it's tight. So when you turn it on, obviously it's got to be plugged in, but you also want to make sure your valve down here is closed, otherwise all the air will come out. So now we'll turn it on. Alright, so you guys can see that's almost at 150 psi. So it should be setting off soon. There it goes. So you can see the tank pressure is at 150 psi. Right there. And the regulator is set to 0. I was told you always should have this all the way turned to the left. That way there's nothing in the regulator while it's filling up. But you can turn this to the right, and then you'll start to see the pressure will go up for this. And so the higher the pressure on the regulator, the faster the air will come out here. So I have the pressure set between 25 and 50. And you guys can kind of hear that. So it doesn't sound like it's coming out a whole lot. So you can turn this up. I'll turn it up to about 75. I can tell it's definitely coming out a lot faster and blows a lot harder. So that's this thing. So another thing with leaving it on, because you can see right now it's on. If you get down to about a little bit above 100 psi, it will start up again and fill it back up to 150 psi. So if I let some out, you can see it turns on again. You see you can use it even when it's filling up. So I'll just keep filling up again until it gets to 150. And again, shut off. So it's pretty simple actually. I was expecting it to be more challenging, but it's pretty simple. And so to take this attachment off, all you do is pull down on the silver part, and you can see it'll shoot out. So I also have this tire inflator here. I'm not going to put this on right now because I don't have any tire to test it out on. But now I'll show you the brad nailer. So when I'm putting it on, just to be safe, because these things can be dangerous, I will turn the regulator pressure all the way to 0. And that will be sure that no air is going to come out of here no matter what. So I'll set you guys down here so I can have 2 hands. But you still want to make sure the tip, which is where that red is right there, you still want to make sure that never points at you or anybody else. So again, you just put it on the same way. You can see it's tight. And then you want to set your regulator pressure. So I'm not sure how well you can see this, but right here is how much PSI you should put in. And for this nailer, it should be between 70 and 100 PSI. So again, make sure it's not pointing towards you. And then you can turn your regulator pressure to about whatever you want. I like to go between 70 and 100 from what I've tested before. And then I'll just do a test on this right here. So to get it to come out, you gotta push down on the tip. You can see how it kind of springs in and out. So you have to push it down and then pull the trigger. It's not loud at all, and you can see how small the nails are, and you don't feel anything. It's completely flush with everything, so you don't feel it. It's pretty hard to see. So this is the 18 gauge. So this is about a medium-sized nail. You can get different lengths in them too. You can get them between just like a ½ an inch, between possibly even a couple inches. That's the 18 gauge. So one more time for you guys. Not very loud, pretty quiet actually. And it doesn't use much air, so you're not gonna be hearing that thing turn on a whole lot. So this is the only one that I've tested out so far. So now that we have this one tested, I'm going to unhook, and then I'm going to put some nails in the 16 gauge and see how that works. So again, unhook. Some of the air is going to come out since I still have the regulator pressure on. Alright, so to load the 16 gauge, it's a little bit differently than this one. So on the 18 gauge, you just push this button and this will slide back and you can put your nails in. And then you just push back up until it locks. This one, however, there's this thing right here. So you have to pull this all the way back. And then there is a slot, if you can see, right along here. when you get your nails, you put the head, which is right here, towards the back, and then you just slide it right on into there. So if you can see, the nails are right there, and you have your little slot right here, and then there is this lever right here, which will unlock this, and then spring all the way back and tighten the nails that are in here. So again, you can look at what PSI you want. Looks like it's again between 70 and 100. So I can plug it in to the hose. The regulator is set to 0. Okay, looks like it's tight. So now that that is on, I can set the regulator, put it almost 100. So my guess is this one's gonna be a little louder just because it is bigger and they're bigger nails, so it's gonna take a little bit more air. So again, you have to push down the tip and pull the trigger. Yeah, that one's definitely a little louder, but it's still not too bad. You can see the nail head is, again, not super visible. It's bigger than the 18 gauge. Worked out pretty good, actually. So I have both type of nails right here. So for each different gauge, there is different lengths and thicknesses. So in each gauge, you can have a different length. The biggest difference between the different gauges is the thickness. So here is the 16 gauge one. You can see it's not super thick, but if I show you a 18 gauge, it's a little bit thinner. So that is the air compressor and all the air nailers. They work pretty good. I really like them. I'm probably going to be using them quite a bit. So one more thing I just wanted to tell you guys was I picked up the air compressor, the hose, and these 3 nailers for $200 at Home Depot. I was a little bit worried that because it was so cheap, it was going to be really bad quality. But so far, it seems to be pretty good. I did have to buy the nails and the attachments and stuff separately. So overall, on everything that I have, I spent about $250, which was not bad for everything that I got. I think I would recommend this compressor. It's really good. It's not the most powerful, but it seems pretty much perfect for what I'm going to be using it for. But anyway, guys, that's going to wrap up this video. I hope you enjoyed. The next video is going to be really putting these to the test a little bit more. You guys will see a little bit of actual building with them. And just a building video in general. So if you want to see that video, make sure to stay tuned for that. Otherwise, thanks for watching and see you in the next one.